part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
Welcome back, guys, for a Locked On Falcons postcast here on the Locked On Sports Atlanta YouTube page. Of course, I'm your host, Aaron Freeman, host of Locked On Falcons, joined as always by my co-host, Jarvis Davis, one of the co-hosts on Locked On Sports Atlanta, co-hosts ATL Day Ones with Tanitra Batiste. And we're here to talk about another Falcons win. Falcons beat the 49ers 28-14. Jarvis, this game kind of went pretty much how we talked about on Locked On Falcons earlier this week, how we wanted to see it go with the Falcons offense being able to control the ball, the defense being able to create some turnovers. I didn't quite get those Taquan Graham, Grady Jarrett sacks from you, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. But let's start things with the offense seeming to get rolling, taking advantage of a beat up 49ers defense and really showing that on the ground with, I believe, 168 yards rushing on the day.
You know what? To be honest with you, got to give a kudos to Marcus Mariota, man. Like, the man played a hell of a game today. Like, because here's the thing, man. Like, I'm never going to be the guy that, you know, always gets on the guy when he doesn't play well, and then doesn't give him his kudos when he does play well. So I have to give a shout out to Marcus Mariota. Well, he didn't have the incomplete pass until the fourth quarter with about 10 minutes a little bit over 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So, and yeah, granted, he only threw the ball, I think ended up with like 14 attempts.
14 passes, yeah.
14 passes, but hey, it is what it is. Like, we understand what it is with Marcus Mariota at this point in his career and with Arthur Smith and what the game plan for them to win games is. That is run the ball as much as you possibly can and make sure that Marcus Mariota, when given the opportunity, he makes it in the passing game. And I think that the number one thing for him today was coming into this game, and he accomplished that, was getting those rushing yards, to be able to extend those drives where he had the 17-play run that extended that drive. That was huge, and they end up punching it in for a touchdown at the end of that drive. Those are the type of things that Marcus Mariota has to be consistent in, and he was definitely that today.
Absolutely, yeah. The Falcons are the only team that has a winning formula where their quarterback only throws for 129 yards.
Right. Imagine that concept.
Yeah. You know, and we've been talking about this all year long, Jarvis. You know, we want to see Mariota play a clean game. I thought he played fairly well last week, even if the numbers didn't really show that. I think he played even better this week. Again, even if you're looking at the numbers and you're not that impressed, but he was efficient. He was clean. As you said, he made plays with his legs that felt like something that the Falcons were going to need to take advantage of against this 49ers run defense that's been pretty stout. But, you know, we saw Caleb Huntley lead the team with 59 yards rushing. Algier had 51. Mariota had 50. So it was really kind of a three-headed monster for this Falcons rushing attack and really able to make plays. And, you know, we got to talk about, hey, you know, Mariota ran for one touchdown, threw for two. One of those touchdowns went to Kyle Pitts. You know, it was a little crazy. You know, when we saw Michael Pruitt get that first touchdown, you're like, really? Michael Pruitt's going to score a touchdown?
Right, as a tight end, like, come on, bro.
And then, you know, Kyle Pitts got his a little bit later. And I thought that was a great play from Mariota. They could sort of use the pump fake, going backside to Kyle Pitts. But, you know, he took his sweet time on that play. I remember yelling at the TV, like, hey,
throw the ball.
Get through that progression quickly. But Kyle Pitts finally got it on a touchdown. And, you know, I don't feel like the fantasy heads will be making the Kyle Pitts jokes quite this week, but maybe they get back to that same old boring material next week if he doesn't get another score.
No doubt about it. And that's the thing that, you know, you like to see. Like you talked about, you know, going through the progressions. Like, he might never have gone through it as quickly as you wanted him to, but he did it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all about baby steps when it comes to this thing, man. When you talk about a guy who hasn't started games within the past 2 years, and he's trying to figure his way and figure out how to be a successful quarterback in the NFL, and what does that look like for him? Well, I think we starting to see that formula coming together by, you know, making those necessary plays and saying, hey, when we do ask you to drop back and make the choices and go through your progressions, you need to be able to do that. And I think that, like you said, he looked front side of that play, and he didn't like what he see, or he was trying to hold that, make sure that safety don't try to creep over on that backside, because he knows he has man-to-man. So either way, those are some of the things that you like to see from your starting quarterback. So yeah, it was definitely cool to see Kyle Pitts get in the end zone because, like you said, man, you get tired of hearing like, "Oh, get the ball to Kyle Pitts." Like, man, look, man, they trying to get score in the red zone. Like, that was a big issue. That was more of an issue than getting Kyle Pitts in the end zone. Was scoring in the red zone, and they've been faring pretty well in these past couple of weeks in that department.
Absolutely, yeah. I tweeted I would have never forgiven Mariota if he had missed Pitts on that. He got the one-on-one. I would have like, get him out of here. I cannot stand this anymore. But he did get it, just probably a half second slower than I would have personally liked it, but they got it, so no complaints there. No complaints about the defense as well, with them creating 3 turnovers. Getting it done on that side of the ball, keeping what has been a struggling 49ers offense continue the struggle this game. They had a couple of opportunities for this 49er team. Fortunately, the ball seemed to bounce their way, a couple of big plays that were dropped for the 49ers, but the defense was able to create some turnovers, 2 interceptions. Isaiah Oliver at the end of the first half, you got a nice one from who was it?
Jaylinn Hawkins. Jaylinn Hawkins, yep.
Mm-hmm. Darren Hall stepped in, broke up a pass that deflected to Jaylinn Hawkins. You had a fumble that was returned for a touchdown, which was a crazy play. I think Rashad Evans got credit for the forced fumble.
It was Hawkins again. It was Hawkins again. Yep.
Yeah, and then Terrell scoops it up, tries to score, fumbles in the end zone. The ball just kind of stops in the end zone, doesn't go out of bounds to get the touchback.
Right, exactly.
In the end zone, Hawkins falls on it. So, it just seemed like, the Falcons got all the bounces this week when it came to stuff like that. And it was nice to see for the Falcons to get that, because last week things didn't quite go their way as we wanted to see at the end of that game. So the defense sort of came up big again, getting some stops late in this game as well. So Jarvis, what were your thoughts on the defensive performance?
To be honest with you, I thought early on in the game, I kind of tweeted out as we kind of going along, because you kind of see what Kyle Shanahan was trying to do, right? With the quick screens, running the football and the quick underneath stuff. So hey, you can get the ball to your playmakers and let them break tackles, and they were pretty successful in that first half. And I was thinking, going into the second half, I said that, hey, you have to be able to put the player down where he catches the football, because, hey, that's what they want to do, right? And Dean Pease he wants to give you that underneath stuff. That's fine. But and at the end of the day, you want to force that offense that want to do those type of things. You want to force them to throw it over the top. And you saw that at the end of the second half, like end of the first half, with that throw to Isaiah Oliver ended up picking off. So that was something. So that's what you want Jimmy G to do, because we know that's not his forte. And you saw that throughout the game. But I think that for Dean Pease to go in that second half, like, hey guys, this is all they got right here. This is all they have. So all we have to do is tackle the man when he catches the football, and defensive lineman, you're not that good. If you beat the guy clean, turn around and run to the football, please, because more than likely it's a screen. He probably wanted you to do that, and I think that you saw those guys actually do that, and that was a really cool thing to see. Those guys make those necessary adjustments, and I really like what I saw from Ebiketie today. He had a solid game today as well.
Yeah, I thought Ebiketie stepped up. I thought Darren Hall stepped up with the injuries to AJ Terrell. With a hamstring injury, kind of left in the second half. You had Taquan Graham left in the second half with like a foot injury, but he did come back later. Hayward seemed like he injured his shoulder late in the fourth quarter. That I think that's going to be one to keep an eye on. Isaiah Oliver got a little nicked up, so the Falcons were sort of scraping the bottom of the barrel with their cornerback depth there, but. I think they were able to come through. You didn't see a whole lot of pressure in this game from the Falcons,
right?
But it seemed to be that Dean Pease style of defense that you're talking about, which is that bend but don't break style. And the tackling, as you said, was a little iffy early on, but it seemed like they got a little bit better as the game wore on, and fortunately they were able to sort of keep the pressure on that 49er team to prevent them to get that comeback, which is refreshing for all Falcon fans out there, where it's like, oh, we have a 2-score lead going into the fourth quarter. I hope this goes
no worries. What? Imagine that.
They were able to pull that off, and we'll see if they can sort of keep it going another week. They got another game against the Bengals next week. But I think this 3-3 start for this Falcon team certainly has been impressive for this team. Anything you want to add here, Jarvis, before we duck out of here?
Just the fact that it's really cool to see what the Falcons offensive line was able to do towards the end of that game. Like when you're in a situation where you know that you're trying to run the clock out, right? You know everybody in the building knows what you're trying to do. And for those guys to be able to see Tyler Algier come in there and get 3 yards, get 4 yards, get the first down, get stopped, and then you see the other offensive lineman coming over there to push the power for him to go forward to get a couple more yards. Those are the type of things that builds that camaraderie and builds something within that offensive line and within that entire offensive room as well. Because like Algier is a guy that I feel like he's really starting to come into his own as far as being that guy. And when Cordell Patterson is out for however long that actually lasts. So yeah, it's cool to see those guys be able to do things that everybody know they're trying to do, and they're still able to find success.
Absolutely. So this is a strong win for the Falcons' identity. They came in, they did the things that we kind of expect them to do. Like they play a certain style of football, and they went out there and they executed, and that's what you want to see. That's a well-coached football team. That's a well-executed game plan. We'll see if the Falcons can carry that over.
A well-coached football team. What? Like, are we talking about the Falcons, man? What is going on, Aaron? Like, man, look, man, this is some stuff, man. Like, I have to give a quick shout out to what Motivated Dedicated. We different. Yeah, this team is different this year. Like, definitely, this team is different. This is a different squad, man. And like you said, they are a well-coached team, and you're starting to see the benefits of that as we were 6 games in the season. The Falcons sitting at 3-3.
Absolutely. And we'll have you guys covered all week long here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Jarvis, Tanitra, Zeno, John Chuckery, and of course I'll have you covered all week long on Locked On Falcons and get you guys geared up for not only what we saw in this game, but also get you geared up for next week's action against the Cincinnati Bengals, who I'm hoping, did they wind up beating the Saints? I got to look at the score real quick. Yes, they did. All right.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
All right. Go Bengals. Go Joe Burrow until next Sunday. So
yes,
we'll see about that.
Saints loss. Give me that.
But guys, check us out on Twitter as well. Jarvis at JarvisD90. I'm in at Falc Fans. Of course, we'll have you covered all week long on Locked On Falcons and Locked On Sports Atlanta. Really appreciate you guys tuning in for another postcast. We'll keep it locked here on Locked On Sports Atlanta.